Who's the cowboy?
Duke, meet Woody. Woody, meet...
Duke Kaboom, Canada's greatest stuntman. Huh. Oh, yeah. Huh. Huh. Yes.
Huh? He's posing.
Huh.
Duke? Duke, we need
Hold
to...
on, one more. Oh, yeah. What brings you back, people?
When I say the name Pixar, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it Easter eggs and references like the Pixar Ball, Luxo Jr., or A113? Well, for some of you, maybe. But what if I narrowed it down and said, Pixar movies? You'd probably think about classics like Finding Nemo, Bug's Life, and most importantly, Toy Story.
I alone have information that reveals this weapon's only weakness. And you, my friend, are responsible for delaying my rendezvous with Star Command! You are a toy!
Toy Story, a movie series that's been there since the very beginning and helped shape Pixar into being one of the most well-known companies in the world of animation, spawning a variety of great movies we've all come to know and love. But with the Toy Story series now reaching its 4th installment, I found the series to be a little overdone. Because, of course, we got the first film in 1995, then the sequel came out in 1999, which, from what I can tell, was well received. Then 11 years later, in 2010, we got Toy Story 3. And the fact that there was a third movie really surprised a lot of people, myself included. I had no idea that they had any additional plans with the series after the second movie. But, after watching it, I certainly understood where they were coming from. I thought it was kind of a cool idea to show us that Andy has grown up over the years and no longer needs his toys. Now sure, a lot happens along the way, but in the end, Andy ends up giving away all of his toys to a little girl named Bonnie. And so, there we were, seeing Woody and the gang in a new house, giving them the opportunity to bring happiness to another child for the rest of the child's adolescent life. The Toy Story gang's story with Andy ended so perfectly, with the toys being in a good enough spot for them to move on and have the series finally come to a close. Or so I thought. And so 2014 came around and Pixar announced that Toy Story 4 was in development, and when I heard the news, I was very skeptical and honestly, a little disappointed. Like, I thought the third movie ended everything so well. Why make a fourth? Isn't Pixar overdoing it a bit? Can't we just let the series end and move on with something else? But, despite my opinion on this news, with the official 2019 release date slowly approaching, I put all my negative feelings toward this movie's existence aside and decided to check it out this weekend with one question on my mind. Could Pixar really give me a reason to care about this movie? Well, yes. Just to put things in perspective, Toy Story 1 focused on Woody trying to get along with the new toy on the block, Buzz Lightyear. Here we saw that Woody felt like his authority was being challenged and wasn't open to having a new toy show up and change the group dynamic or take his spot as Andy's favorite toy. Toy Story 2, we had Buzz sort of take the lead role as Woody gets taken by some obsessed toy collector, while at the same time having Woody learn more about where he came from. Toy Story 3 had Woody and the gang in the process of being given away. Of course, some shenanigans happen, and the overall plot is for the toys to try and escape a daycare they got sent to, with the main message at the end of the movie being that Andy has grown up and no longer needs his toys. And so, it's time for both Andy and his toys to move on. But what about Toy Story 4? What is that about? Well, if I could describe this movie with one word, I think it'd be closure. You see, in this movie, we see how the toys have adapted to now being owned by Bonnie, with them having to share playtime with other toys Bonnie has owned prior to them. And everyone has seemed to have adapted pretty well. Everyone, except Woody. Almost similar to the first movie, we see this sort of disposition with Woody's character as it becomes clear that he is definitely not the number one toy in the playset. Of course, he doesn't want the other toys to make a big deal out of it, as he gets the understanding that this isn't about him being the number one toy. He just wants Bonnie to be happy. And we get to see this mindset develop in full force when Bonnie brings home a new toy that she made in school, Forky. Now I won't get into many details about this to avoid ruining any jokes or spoilers, but A good first portion of the movie centers around Woody trying to get Forky to understand that he's Bonnie's favorite toy at the moment and she'll always look to him to comfort her, and so it's up to Forky to be the best toy that he can be. But when something happens to Forky, Woody does everything he can to make sure he's safe and back into Bonnie's life. Again, with Woody showing this noble action that he only cares about the kid's happiness, and it's this message that heavily gets carried throughout the rest of the movie, giving a strong emphasis on what a toy's sole purpose in life is really all about. Now, aside from Forky, throughout the movie we get some pretty interesting cameos like Key and Peele and John Wick, who thankfully don't really take away from the overall plot with their characters, and at least add to the story to some degree. Randy Newman comes back to this series to do the score once again, and as always, the soundtrack is quite beautiful. Now, I know that it's no surprise when I say Pixar's animation has improved dramatically over the years, but given that Toy Story was their first animated film, and just seeing how much the animation has changed between then and now is just absolutely crazy. And the photorealism the Pixar team have been able to achieve with this movie is just phenomenal. Like, we went from this to this. And at this point, Andy just looks like a completely different character. I'm not even joking. But okay, enough about the music and the animation. Let's dive a bit more into the story here. Spoiler free, of course. I really enjoyed this movie's narrative as it truly challenges Woody's perspective at second chances and what it means to be a toy. How much are you willing to give up to bring happiness to a single child, even when you know that that happiness doesn't involve you? It's these questions that give the movie a more philosophical perspective, with Woody trying to cope that he's no longer Andy's toy and ultimately struggles with trying to find his new purpose in life. Of course, he doesn't do this alone, with the help of Buzz, his long-lost boo thing Bo Peep, along with a few others to help him along the way to find his new calling. All in all, I'm happy to say that Toy Story 4 feels like a natural and organic way to end the series, as opposed to being some cheap cash grab. The soundtrack was really great, and the movie's just filled with stunning animation and imagery all the way through. Emotions run high throughout this film and offers thoughts and metaphors from a philosophical perspective. Although I don't think its level of humor may have been on the same level as its predecessors, it still has a lot of great jokes and one-liners throughout it. There's a lot of fun and amusing characters which help change the usual group dynamic in interesting ways. I especially feel like they did Bo Peep's character justice with this installment in the series. We get to catch up with her and get an idea of what she's been up to during her absence of the third movie, and we can see she's really evolved into this empowered and independent character, making her more than just a major love interest to Woody, like how she was mostly seen in the previous movies. Plus, I am so glad we have an established antagonist for this movie, because I gotta say, I was getting pretty tired of the twist villains that Disney and Pixar have been giving us these past few years. And in a way, I was kinda caught off guard by it too, because I literally sat there and thought to myself, whoa, is that an actual established antagonist? We're not even at the halfway point. Are you telling me I actually get a good chance throughout the movie to learn more about the bad guy, instead of only hearing their life story in the last 5 minutes? Okay, now I know that statement may not mean much to some of you out there, but it just kind of felt refreshing seeing a character that we know without a doubt is trying to thwart our hero's progress, instead of them being like, surprise, I'm the bad guy, bet you didn't see that coming. So in short, I really enjoyed the plot as well as the characters. Though the only thing I'm really worried about is there being a Toy Story 5. Because although this does provide a more satisfying ending with the narrative closure this movie encapsulates as opposed to the third one, I could still see an opportunity in which they could make a fifth movie. But like I always say, don't count your Pixar movies before they develop. Okay, I lied. I don't say that. But anyway, here's to hoping that this is the final chapter to what is known as a great movie series. Because like the kids having a friend in their toys, the Toy Story series will always have a place in my heart. Hey there guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as it really does help the channel out. But anyways, have you seen Toy Story 4 yet? Did it make you laugh? Did it make you cry? Was it a better ending compared to Toy Story 3? And most importantly, would you want there to be a Toy Story 5? I have a feeling you already know your answer to that last question, but either way, I am curious to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. Alright guys, I think that's gonna be it for today. Hope you all have a nice day, and with that, I shall see you all next time.